Welcome back, everybody, to Paperback Flicks.
Hi,
I'm Ray Davidson,
I am Ruth Craddock.
and we are talking The Fellowship of the Rings.
Yes.
So I was a little bit confused, and I think I confused you when I said, "Oh, it's two books," because I guess originally Tolkien had written like six novellas
Mm-hmm.
that told the story, and then the publishers decided to publish them two novellas at a time and give them each a title. So, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
each have two books within them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we did double duty today, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like two books, but it's really not. Um, it's one movie. I listened to an audiobook of it and they did go book one and then chapter this and then books two. And I was like, okay, it's essentially the same story, but all right.
Yeah,
That's fine. If you had to split it up, that's where you would split it up right there. So,
yeah. And I was reading, and it is one book called The Lord of the Rings, and then
hmm
it does say it says the same thing. Like it'll say the Fellowship of the Ring, book one.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't throw me off when I'm reading. So,
Yeah. It's essentially all in that movie. So
yeah.
that's good. So, book.
Have you ever read this before?
I have, and that's the thing though, is like it was a while ago, like a real long while ago, because there's a lot of stuff I forgot about, and I was like, I know I've read this book. I've read this book. Because there was things I was like, I don't remember this, or I don't remember there being so much of this, or this being so long. Maybe I was reading an extended version again. This tends to happen to me. I have the extended version of the movies. All the
Hmm.
movies, I have the extended longer version, so I got that. But like in the book, like there's lots of stuff I was like, I just don't remember this. And yeah, so I have read it. It's just been so long. It's kind of like reading it for the first time, almost. So,
Cool.
how about you?
So, no. So I had tried to read The Hobbit a couple of times, and I
hmm
tried first in junior high, and I never got past like the first, like, I don't even think I finished the first chapter.
Oh.
And then I tried reading it again, as like a young adult, possibly married. Um, and I know that I got through the dwarves song, how they like sing a song as they're like cleaning up the dishes or setting up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dishes or something. And I was just like, okay, if I had like just my whole life to just devote to reading, then I would love this. But
hmm
we gotta move along, you know?
I got stuff
And
to do.
yeah. And so I knew like I knew that I couldn't handle Lord of the Rings because everyone told me that if I don't want a slow pace, don't do Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it proved true. So I don't know how you felt. I loved certain parts of it, especially I like the poetry. I didn't when I was younger. Like the
hmm
songs, the poetry, they like kind of got in the way of the story to me. This time I
Yeah.
really loved them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I liked all the little world building things they did, like the songs and like the folklore and like he gave everything like a sense of history.
mm,
Like everything felt lived in. All the characters felt like they were just they're the real characters and they weren't like stereotypes. They were real people. So I did love like his attention to world building. I think I probably liked it more this time than I did the first time I read it. I think it probably was a slower read for me the first time. This time I'm like I was listening to it while I was working, so like my brain didn't need to be involved. What I'm doing is pretty monotonous. So like it was keeping it entertained. But like for the most part, I was enjoying it. And sometimes there'd be moments where it felt like the songs will be too long or the poems will be too long. I'd be like,
mhm.
well, this is great. It is great. I'm loving the world building. But like I can see how somebody's used to a fast paced like story and like action and things moving along would find this boring.
Yeah.
Be like just too much world building for them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So um it it kind of drove me crazy that it was like I I don't know. Like in we'll talk about the movies, how it feels like one thing goes to another, goes to another. And
hmm
in the book, like what is it, like 17 years goes by or something that like
Like something like 10 to 17 years between
yeah,
like Bilbo's birthday and when he tells Frodo to go.
right.
And even
And
like or when Frodo finally leaves. So
right.
like
And
yeah.
then we've got months of traveling. It's a month or two of
Yeah,
traveling.
it's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Total travelogue.
And
And yeah.
I knew that they had to cut stuff out. And I was under the impression that like people would talk about like, oh, what's his name? Tom Bombadil. Like, oh, I hate that they took out Tom Bombadil's part. And then as I'm reading through it, I'm like, they gave the int in a later movie, they gave him a lot of those lines. They a lot of times somebody says something in the book and it's somebody else that says it in another spot.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
in the movies, but all of those pivotal, all of the lines that like really stick out, or the things that seem to really matter, that they cut out that scene or that character, but they
Hmm.
did put it back in, you know.
In their own
So
way, yeah.
like all the stuff with Bombadil and the big willow that like consumes them or whatever,
Mhm.
like those do show up later, even though it kind of is merging, I guess, two characters or two parts of the story together. Like
Hmm.
they just completely throw it away. And
Yeah.
also, I knew that people were all about like, is her name Arwen or Eowyn?
Yeah.
Like they were like, you either love that they gave her a bigger part, or they were mad. They were purists and they were mad that she was in all this stuff because she didn't really belong there. And you know,
Yeah, so okay, first off, Tom Bombadil. I remember this part from before reading it. I don't remember it being nearly as annoying. I don't
it
remember it
wasn't
going on
annoying.
nearly as long. And like, so again, I'm listening to the audiobook and it's Andy Serka who does the voice of Gollum was the
Oh,
narrator for this, and he was amazing. Amazing narrator. But like when they were real songs and they had like a tune, he was singing the song and it was great. But like with the Tom Bombadil stuff, he's pretty much just sing-songing everything and just la 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 la. And like because it doesn't have like a real like tune and
yeah.
it's that the whole time, I got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I love musicals. I love songs. And you're doing something horrible when you make somebody like me hate a singing character. Something awful is happening. And then he went away, and then there was a point where he comes back, and I was like, no, we got away from him. I was finally like, oh my gosh, we escaped. We got away from Tom Bombadil finally. Oh my gosh. And then he comes back, and I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no.
I have to say, I agree. I didn't hate the Tom Bombadil parts, but I feel like everyone that knew him and then watched the movie and they were like, they took out Bombadil. Ah!
You didn't need
And
him. You really didn't. Like,
I was like, what purpose does this serve? Like it's clever and it's funny and like
it's
and
for like
his
stuff for them to do along the way. It's another quirky character. I think J.R.R. Tolkien's like a student of culture and like folklore and people and civilizations. And so he just enjoys these kind of notions of all these different types of people and what would they be like and what would their world be like and how would
yeah.
they act differently than this group of people. And I think he just having fun just telling a story,
He is. So
you
did
know?
you he is. So the in the audiobook, does it have all of the like the forewords and the letters from the author and all of that?
Yeah.
Where he's like talking about he's like, here's the thing. I just set out to write a full and complete um work of fiction that was solely and completely its own thing. He's like, I am literally just telling a story.
Hmm.
I want to be your Bilbo Baggins. You know, he's like, this is not analogy. This is not, or what's that
Hmm.
called? Um, Whatever. Like
Yeah.
he's like
I know,
anybody
yeah.
who's like
Allegory or
allegory, right? He's like
yeah,
anybody who is saying, oh, this means
this or
whatever. This is
yeah.
industrialization. He's like,
And
that's for you.
that's what you think. And like
I did not do that. He's like,
yeah,
if you
and
take
like
that
he
away,
even talks about how like some people like to like take parallels to like times of war that he fought in and stuff. Well, this is
Right.
him talking about this, and he's like, well, it's interesting if you want to see it that way, but no, that's really not what I was
Right.
doing. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's interesting that how much people can read into what an author writes, and then sometimes authors are really trying to like signify all the stuff, and then people either don't get it or it's like super obvious, and
Yeah.
it's all a matter of interpretation. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and like I kind of feel like maybe there are some people that kind of know a Tom Bombadil type. Like you might know a person that makes you think of this type of person.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
me think of my old drunk uncle. Oh, the what are they called? The other Bagginses, Sackville,
Sac
Sackville.
the Sackville wagons.
Yeah, like I'm sure we all have those relatives that are
They're like,
like, oh,
I'm not
hide the
home.
silverware.
Yeah. Not those people.
But so maybe if you are super into preserving and conserving nature, then you see the industrialization of Isengard as like this like negative like whatever, I don't know.
In
And
like the war machine of Germany or something. I don't know.
right, yeah, like maybe you see that, but that was not what he's like, of course the things that I experienced are going to like affect me and I'm going to think of,
They might
now I
be
know more
there,
about
but not.
what's
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, but nothing was meant to represent. This is not allegory for things in our world. However, there are life lessons to be learned. There's
Hmm.
there's key truths that are true regardless
Where it
of
takes
the
place.
affect. Yeah, like
Yeah.
things like the all that glitters is not gold
Yeah.
and the not all that wander are lost. Like that little thing that's a rhyme about Aragorn.
Yeah.
Like
And that's original to this, right? That's where this
right,
that comes from. I think for the
correct.
longest time I didn't realize that's where it came from. You just heard it everywhere. It was
Yeah,
around. I saw this quotes on things or on shirts and this everywhere. And I think I forgot that it was literally from this. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
yeah, okay. But like when you think about it in terms of that it's literally talking about Aragorn, it's kind of like, whoa, that's actually really profound and deep. That
right,
like he's not at all what he seems, he's not at all what he looks like. This is a king. This is the
right.
king. This is like the heir to pretty much all of humanity's salvation. He's the last hope, but he's wandering around in like dirty clothes, going about the countryside, you know, helping, doing stuff, whatever. And
Yeah,
so like he's like a vagabond. And but this is a king. And then for people to be like, who is this? He's like, dude, you don't
yeah,
even know.
right,
Yeah.
right.
You should
Yeah,
be like on your knees. Anyways.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was another allegory that I had heard that people were like, oh, he's not an exact simile, but he's kind of the allegory for like Christ or something.
Oh,
And
okay. I can see
and
that. Yeah, he
I like
wandered about.
right, I can see it for them. Like the King of Kings brought humble. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
get it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Yeah.
I also can completely see that Tolkien was like, no, 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 that was not like on purpose. Like, I did not actually intend for that to be the
The
thing,
case. Yeah, yeah.
But But
But
yeah, I found that super interesting that the publishers kept trying to change what so that like change the spelling to like a common spelling and he's like, "No, I wanted it to be this way. If these are colloquial, like local colloquials,
mm-hmm.
they're going to say something colloquially." And so I wanted that I to be in there even though you normally wouldn't put it because they'll say it with a lilt or whatever,
And
like
it's a different world. They're not going to say things exactly the way we would. And
right.
he wrote languages. He wrote
Right.
like really in-depth stuff. And it's like, okay, so
Yep.
yeah, like you can't
Including
really mess with that part.
one of the big ones that he was apparently really upset about was elves, Elves, and they changed it to elfs with an F, ELFES or whatever. And he was like, absolutely not. That is a little creature that helps Santa in the North Pole. Elves with a V.
is
are
majestic,
beautiful and yeah,
yeah, ethereal beings. Yes, yeah.
right. And so
Hmm.
like things like that make a huge difference that, you know,
Yeah.
hobbits are closer to elves, you know.
Elves. Yeah, it
So,
definitely it gives a different vibe. And it helps to sort of set things apart that way. When you want to sort of like he wanted to take things that have been done before but kind of make him his own.
yeah.
And that's one thing that's great about the hobbits is like, yeah, you have the dwarves and you have the elves and you have man, you have wizards, but like probably the most goblins, whatever, the more unique characters are like the hobbits and the orcs. Those are
Mhm.
like the two things that are really his unique creations. And the funny thing about hobbits, they're not like dwarves, really. They're small,
Right.
but they're actually quite different. And they're their own people. And I love how he just kind of showed how all the different cultures just have their own personalities and their own way of life and their own way of doing things. And about all these civilizations sort of live in this world together, kind of.
Mhm.
And they sort of coexist, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's interesting. So yeah. What was
So there's oh, go ahead.
there was something else you asked. I was gonna say something about it, but I forgot what it was.
I
So
don't know.
go
We'll
ahead.
probably circle back to it. But
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things that happened. I feel like Bilbo's journey out of the Shire, there's quite a few things that happened that they just for time or whatever just couldn't
Mm-hmm.
fit. So we talked about Bombadil, but also in regards to the Barrow
The
Whites.
Barrel Whites, yeah, that whole
Yeah.
thing. Which
Yeah, that
is interesting in the book, but like it's not necessary really.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was kind of just because this part of the story was super boring and it was super long and it was get out of the hollow or out of the hollow, out of the Shire. And
Hmm.
I think that was it seems to be like, oh, there has to be something worth telling here, you know?
Yeah.
And so he kind of put that in, but he does have like the hint of it at the beginning, you know, which I
Yeah.
thought might kind of be like you were talking about a while ago. You were talking about how like first rule of writing fantasy, if you show an ice monster in the prologue, you need to have an ice monster.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, when he's setting up the lore, and he's like, but they've forgotten things like, you know, this creature and that race of beings, but they didn't forget the Barrow Whites and these other things, you know. And
Yeah.
so then he kind of had to circle back to them and include them is kind of how
Hmm.
it felt.
Yeah.
But it also sets up so that like by the time Frodo and his companions get to Rivendell and the elves are like they kind of give them a little respect. These are not just
So they went through
childlike
quite a
hobbits.
lot.
Like yeah, like they've paid their dues, you know.
Yeah, these are tough little guys.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and what's funny though is having them sort of splice it up and really condense it in the movie, you don't feel the lack of those things. Because story-wise, it makes perfect sense to get out of the Shire as fast as possible. There are interesting things that happen in the getting out of the Shire, but some of it doesn't make sense. Like when Frodo does get stabbed by the Ringwraiths, um, and he gets the wound, like it was like 2 weeks until they actually got to Riverdale after that.
Yeah.
He survives for 2 weeks after that. I was like, well, it's not that bad then. Like, yeah, he seems to be sick and it's making him ill and he doesn't feel well. But it was like, it doesn't seem so drastic or dangerous the way they
Right.
had it. Whereas, like, the way they did it in the movie, having it be like, oh, we gotta get him right to Rivendell right now. Or he's got like a day, maybe 2 days before he dies. Like, that's much more high stakes and much more exciting. And I, for one, like, forgot about Arwen not really having much of a part in this book. So then I read it again. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It was somebody else that showed up to help
Right.
him get to Rivendell. And they didn't even ride on the horse with Frodo. Frodo just went with the magical elf horse.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a spell that somebody cast that made the water rise up and knock all the ring wraiths down. It was
Right.
just a natural defense
Well,
mechanism of Rivendell.
it was what was it? It was an enchantment that had, but it was always there. Like it was
Yeah.
always to where,
It was
yeah,
an alarm system, like essentially.
right,
It's like,
right,
oh, if somebody, yeah.
yeah,
So I do think it is more interesting to have Arwen have a bigger part, especially since they're going with what they did with her in the movies,
Hmm.
so much more interesting
Yeah,
than having her just sort of hinted at that there's maybe something going on with Aragon and her, but it was only not even touched on. She was just talked about for a second, and you're like,
right.
okay,
She was there, and he stood next to her at kind of the after dinner party,
yeah, and that was
and
it.
nothing else. Yeah,
Yeah, so it was missing that romance element that
right,
is so much more interesting in the movie. And
right.
having her be the one to go and help him get Frodo and cast a spell, whatever, does give her a stronger character. It does give her more to do.
Yeah,
And that is one of the things I'll say in this, and at least in this book, like I'd have to reread the other ones to be totally sure. At least in this book, it does feel like J.R.R. Tolkien didn't know how to write women, and he didn't
yes,
know what to do with them. Like he had them in there. They were these beautiful things that showed up and said cute stuff and blah blah blah. Except for Glendro,
oh yeah,
like
Galadriel. Yeah,
Glandro. Oh, I'm gonna say it wrong. Anyways, um, besides her, every other woman that showed up was very like two-dimensional and
right.
just pretty and just there.
Like
And
Goldberry, like I still don't understand her purpose.
yeah, okay, that was the weirdest, oddest like coupling of all times. Tom Bombadil and her. I was like, what do you see in this guy? Like honestly, like apparently she's just really pretty and like but like she's not singing. She
Well,
just wonders singing. I'm like, but why? This guy's a
right.
doofus.
Well, and it hints at something. I forget what she says now, but like she was like in the river or something, and he came upon her. I don't remember if he saved her from something or he there was something. There was something that like
Something
she was
happened.
like devoted to him now, and I'm like, okay.
All
And I
right,
get
that
it.
was easy. There
He
must
was
not be a lot of guys
right. Well,
out there
what
where
was
she's at.
he was called like the fatherless or the man of no father or something like that, like
Yeah,
because he was there before, like when elves and early men like came to this land, like he was already there, you know.
yeah. Okay.
So he's apparently ageless, and you get the feeling that he matters a lot more than he seems to matter,
Yeah,
but you're kind of like, for what purpose? You almost have to read the rest of them just to find out if there's more Bombadil that I just don't know about, you know? Like,
yeah, yeah. I don't remember him coming back. But then again, it's been so long, it kind of feels like a new thing. So
yeah.
yeah,
They
I thought
also
that
have
was interesting, just having these random beautiful women and nothing happens, and then you have Glendrall, who's like, she's important. She's important in the books too. She has an important part. She's more the sorceress wizard in of the elves than her husband. It's like her husband's there. He's still an important part. But like she's kind of more the enchantress.
right.
And I do like that character. And I feel like they did a good job like transferring that into the movie. I for one I don't get me wrong, I like Kate Blanchett as an actress. I don't think she's pretty. She
Yeah.
has an interesting face. She's unique, but I wouldn't call her pretty.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, you have Liv Tyler playing Arwen, and I think Liv Tyler is pretty.
I
And
do
she's
too.
so pretty, it's amazing that Steven Tyler's her father because he's an ugly monkey face. I can't think of an uglier man. There are a few men that are uglier than Steven Tyler. Sorry, I think he's quite hideous. But somehow she's related to him. So, okay,
Yeah.
he bothered her. All right. But she's quite pretty. And I like the dynamic of what they created with Arwen and Aragon because it gives so much more of a backstory. It makes him so much more interesting. Like he literally was brought to the elves, 'cause his mom wanted him to be safe, wanted him to live away from all this bad influence, and maybe someday he'll be king. But like, and he learned to get to know the elves and grew up with them. So he grew up with her. And so I'm wondering though, was she like a grown woman this whole time when he was a little boy, and then he grew up to love her?
I mean,
Or
he
was
is
she young at the same time as him? Because he seems like he's been
right.
around a longer time than most humans.
Right. He's a Dunedain, and so, or Dane, or however you say that. But
Yeah.
so he does live longer than most humans,
Yeah.
but but he doesn't live nearly as long as elves.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
just
by the
curious,
time,
how old was she when they met?
right.
And I don't see any elf children in Riverdale.
Yeah,
You
like they talk about daughters and sons, but you don't really
just see
see that.
grown-ups. That's all you ever see.
Yeah.
I do like having more, things happening like in Riverdale, having that scene with Aragorn and Boromir,
Hmm.
where he picks up the sword and everything.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting scene and a good moment. So
I
I love
got
all that additions. I think those made it better.
I liked the history and the different perspectives during the Council of
Yeah.
Elrond,
Mm-hmm.
but oh my gosh, it was like 50
Longest
some odd
thing
pages. It was
forever.
so long. Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
dude, it's its own book unto itself. And
Right.
what I think they did an amazing job condensing all that and
Well,
making it. But like, I also like that what they did is as they were traveling from the Shire or whatever, and they're like, "Where's Gandalf?" They sort of showed what was going on with him
right.
instead of
They
having to wait
also,
until we got to the council to find out.
right. They
So
also had a fair bit, like the prologue of the movie does give you that some of that history,
yeah,
like chopping off the ring and
yeah,
so that you don't have to and also the stuff with Smeagol
mm-hmm,
in the book is just like here it is, bro, he's Smeagol, you know.
yeah,
Whereas in the movies, that's way later. That
yeah. They
you
actually show that,
right, you go
and
on this journey with Gollum almost because it's only when he's um more his old self as much as he ever is going to be
yeah,
that you are told, see, this is who he used to be,
yeah,
you know. So yeah, I liked getting all the information just because I do like to get the information.
yeah.
But oh my gosh, that was so dry just to be
It
like, now let me say my part. Now let me say my
Yeah.
part. Oh,
I mean,
oh my
it
gosh.
wasn't badly written, but at the same time, it was just so much put into one spot that it was
Yes.
really quite like, oh gosh, how long is this? But even when he's writing it, he's talking about how this meeting went on all day. And
Yeah.
Bilbo's like, I want to eat. I'm starving. Let's take a break. Let's go eat something, and then I'll tell you. They're like, no, no, let's do this now. It's like, he's like, no, I'm a hobbit. We
Right.
eat 12 times a day. Gosh dang it.
Right. So there were a couple of the things that I loved about the book that I'm kind of I guess I'm not sad that they're not in the movie, but I really like I the movie is the story for me. And so I keep hailing back to that. Even when I'm reading, I saw all the movie characters, I heard all their voices, but there were
Mhm.
a couple of things that I kind of wish they could have put back into the movie.
Okay, like what?
One of them was Sauron's um he went from Sauron the White to Sauron of many colors,
Oh yeah.
and
Hmm.
his fabric looked white, but as it shined, it would shimmer in different
Yeah.
colors.
Hmm.
I think that is awesome, and we've all seen clothing that looks like that. I feel like they
Yeah.
could have done that.
It
It
could have been
just,
cool.
yeah, it just didn't seem pivotal,
It'd be
I
the kind
guess,
of
to
thing he
tell
wouldn't
the
have noticed at first until he realized, wait a second, you're
yeah.
not the same
Oh
person
my
anymore.
gosh. I think that is so cool, and I would have loved to see it.
Yeah, that
Um,
would have been neat.
And then also when they're in Bree, when they're at the Prancing Pony, and like I get it that they're just trying to like move the story on,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes it can be he in the same way that the book is can drag in parts. The movie I feel like is just heavy upon heavy upon heavy, and those little moments of levity, especially with the hobbits, is like nice, right? And
Hmm.
then, but in the book. Frodo gets his moment of levity and the way that he tells the so apparently we know the hey diddle diddle a cat in the fiddle
Hmm. Yeah,
how
supposedly written by Bilbo.
right and it's like long form and it's like the moon drank an ale so brown he got drunk and fell down or whatever it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know, and that's why the cow was dancing to the fiddle song that the cat was playing,
yeah,
and that's why she jumped over him because he was drunk on the floor, and like,
yeah, yeah.
and it's so cute and clever. And Frodo is up there, like at first he's singing it just to be like, oh,
I'm just distracting you. I'm distracting
distract
you.
you, yeah. And then he starts to like get into it and he's
Yeah.
enjoying it. And then he's like, the cow jumped over the moon and he like jumps and he like
Yeah.
crashes into the dishes, but then the ring hits his finger and he disappears.
Yeah.
And that moment of levity without with still having that moment of like, oh my gosh, this is a serious thing. Look what just happened.
Yeah.
Like I loved that. I am sad
You
that we
weren't
don't get that.
expecting it because it was almost like kind of a fun little moment. And Frodo doesn't get enough of those moments, to be
Right,
honest. Like he is a little more the serious character out of the four of them.
right,
Um, but it is a fun way to do it. But again, I see why they did what they did, why they moved it
right.
along. But yeah, there was more going on at Bree than you got to have.
Yeah,
And but then ultimately that's the kind of stuff you end up trimming, the fat you trim when you're trying to make a movie out of a book. And there's all these
yeah,
characters that just get sort of misplaced or combined, and some ways it works. But yeah, I think it would have been fun to watch Frodo sing that song.
yeah.
And that would have been a funner, better reason for him to fall down than him he just slipped
Right,
and
yeah.
the ring
And
just
then
and then that whole
catches,
like the ring falling on him like that is
yeah,
like so convenient. Yeah, I know the ring has a mind of stone.
right.
So okay, but it's
It
still
chose
like
to do that. But
the
like
chances.
watching it go shoo around his finger is a little, come on, man.
You're like, wouldn't it be like the second it's on, he starts, or does it
Right,
have to be
yeah.
all the way to the knuckle? It's like it has to be on the knuckle before it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. It doesn't holding it doesn't make you invisible, but if you put it on your finger, it does.
Right. We talked about several things that they cut um from the first book, book one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And book one, I'm trying to remember how far that where the break was. Did they get to Rivendell?
I
Uh,
thought it was they got to Rivendell, and then the whole Council of Elrond and everything was the beginning of the
okay.
next one,
Yes, I believe
I
that
think.
that's accurate. Um, and but I'm trying to remember. They'd condensed some things, but I feel like they didn't cut a whole lot from the second book that I can recall.
Okay.
Um, although at that point I was kind of just speed reading
You're like,
'cause- because it was taking a while. But
yeah.
uh, but I do feel like the book was not like they did it justice. Was there anything else from the book that stood out to you that you wanted to make sure was like addressed or
Okay. So again, it's been a while since I've read the second book, so I don't know if this appears in the second book because my brain is like going, I don't remember stuff anymore. But I did notice that in the book they don't have Boromir die at the end
uh-huh.
of
That's true.
Fellowship, and they don't have orcs and goblins come and attack them. They had them shoot arrows at him from the side
Right.
of the river, but they didn't have like a
The
full-fledged attack,
invasion. Yeah, yeah.
the big siege.
Right.
So that's one of the things that stuck out the most to me was like, yeah, okay. I thought I couldn't remember like how if that happens in the future books or not. So I was like, huh. But I don't really remember Boromir being in the other books much.
Right.
So it feels like something happened to him, but it's
Hmm.
really been that long. I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, so that was interesting. I do like that they gave him a noble death in the end. I thought they did a good job, like building up to his little breakdown and his like little crazy moment. Like
Right.
he tried to be reasonable. Like he was trying to fight the influence of the ring the whole time. And you
Right.
got the sense that he was fighting it all this time. And then when he snaps, it was like the second he like falls and hit his head, he comes to and he's like, "Oh, what did I do? Like,
Right.
what have I done?" And then they give him the opportunity to try to save Mary and Pippin and to try to defend them and keep them safe from the orcs who are trying to get him. And then he just gets arrow after arrow and arrow, and you're like, he just keeps on trying to keep going. And I love that because that gave him like a sort of a redemption. It gave him a moment to be
Right.
like, I did something wrong. I'm better than this, but I tried my best. And then for them to have the moment with Aragon and Boromir where he's like, our people, and he's like, oh, you're finally acknowledging that you are our king and this is your people. And because that's one of the things that's interesting that you kind of forget about this whole story is like when Isidore went to war, he left the Stuarts in charge
Hmm.
of Gondor. So he go off to war, and they went to go fight Sauron the first time. Saruman. So here's my other thing. It's always bothered me. It's you Saruman and Sauron. Their names are too close together.
Yep.
And it was always bothered the crap out of me. I was like, dude, you need more of a difference. All these other names are very unique and different. And you have those two names. They're too
Yeah.
similar.
Well,
And
and
they're
when they are
bad guys.
similar, it's like Aragorn, son of Arathorn, or whatever, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, because there's father and son, and that's what
Family, yeah. But these guys aren't related.
right. They're supposed to be on opposite sides.
What? What? Anyways, so I guess it was sort of a hint that the White Wizard was going to go bad because his name was almost the same as the bad guy.
I guess
But
so.
it's like, boom, boom, boom. Anyways, but like, it was also kind of annoying because I feel like I always want to say the wrong name. But anyways, when they went to fight the big bad guy, like previously in the olden days, they left the Stuarts in charge.
Hmm.
They were kind of like, the second in command, whatever. You're in charge while we're gone until the king gets back. And then when you like know the full history of the story, you're like, so they've literally been not, they didn't make themselves kings. They continued on as stewards. Like
Right.
they were waiting for the king to come back, even though the king didn't come back and his lineage went on, but went somewhere else. They were still sort of like like placeholders, even though they
Hmm.
were doing the job as the king and they were the ruling family and they were taking care of Gondor. They were still essentially like holding true to this like promise or this hope that their king would come back.
Yeah.
It's
I
really
I
interesting.
oh sorry. I liked the Boromir of the books a fair bit more than I liked the early Boromir of the movie. Like you said, I so my favorite kind of character is the redemption story character. Like
Mhm.
that is the one that could have been evil and was maybe going down that path and had to overcome himself and choose better.
Yeah.
That is my hero. That makes a true hero to me, right?
Mhm.
And so by his death, I loved Boromir.
Yeah.
However, in the book, I feel like I understood him a little bit better. Like, because he said exactly what you're saying. He was like, bro, generation after generation, we are the avant-garde here. We are the ones that are putting our necks on the line. And then Aragorn is like, in our defense, we're up north picking off the ones that were strong enough to get past you.
Yeah.
You
They're
know?
not just there. Yeah.
Right. And then when Boromir hears that, like he's like, okay, respect, I got
Fair
it.
enough.
All right, so cool. We're doing all that we can, and I'm willing to admit you're picking up our slack, I guess. Like, great, thank you, cool. So if you're supposed to be the next king, then let's see it. Like,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
then,
There's
then
like that whole
cool.
power struggle, like
Yeah,
love-hate relationship between the two of them, which is really interesting because
right.
like Boromir is used to being a leader in his own right. Like back in Gondor, he's the eldest son, he leads the armies, he's got all this respect, and then he comes to this situation and suddenly he's trumped by Aragorn, who just looked like some ragamuffin when he first met him, and it turns out he's the king. And he's like, okay. Um, but like, and he keeps getting like overruled every time he's like, we should do this, we should do that. And nobody agrees with him. They keep letting Frodo choose, which makes sense because he's the ring bearer. It's essentially his thing. Um, but that feeds into his frustration
Hmm.
because then it's like, Boromir's really frustrated. Nobody's listening to him. He's trying to be reasonable. He's trying to be a part of this. He's trying to help. At the same time, he's really frustrated with Aragorn because he is both excited to have the king possibly come back, and at the same time, very resentful. Where the heck have you been? Generation after generation, we've been waiting for you guys.
Yeah,
And like, we've been doing your job, and it literally wasn't our job. We just took it because that was what we swore to do,
right.
And like,
We
it's
were
weird.
picking up
Like, they
your
have
slack as
power, but they kind of didn't want it, but then it
yeah,
just became their burden. Whereas
right.
this wasn't their birthright. And anyways, I do love them having that moment at the end. He's finally like, I will make sure our city doesn't fall. And it's this beautiful moment for Boromir to be like, oh, good, thank you. I'm so glad you're gonna go and do this. You're gonna finish what I started. We are gonna have a king, even if I don't get to see it.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen, and it's a beautiful moment. I
Right.
love Sean Bean as an actor
Yes.
who plays
Yeah.
Boromir. I love this man. I loved everything he's ever done. He's just fantastic. He does every part he does. He's just so good. And anyways, so he's really good. He does his part justice. And yeah, I'm gonna have to read the second book to find out what actually happened to Boromir in the books because I
Right.
forgot that he didn't die. And
And
it is,
I
yeah,
haven't read it, so I don't know. So
yeah.
yeah.
So like it is so much more interesting and ending what they did in the movie than what they did in the book. What they did in the book was kind of like, oh well, Frodo went and did this and these guys
Right.
did that and oh, okay.
Had to go on.
Whereas
Yeah.
like in the book, having the big siege and having them suddenly like all get attacked and like divided
Yeah.
and having all these little moments, like there's the moment when Frodo's trying to get back to the river and he took off the ring after running away from Boromir, and he's running down to get to the river, and then he runs into Merry and Pippin who are hiding, and from the orcs. And there's a moment the orcs leave, and they're trying to like come here, and
Yeah.
like you see like Merry kind of go, oh, he's leaving us.
Yeah. He's not coming with
He's not
us.
coming
Yeah.
with us, and it's like this moment. I do love how they really layered. So there's a lot of great things that happen in the book between the four hobbits and like developing their characters. I
Yeah.
do love that they had this whole thing where they knew, like subplot, like Sam, Merry, and Pippin all
Right.
secretly knew he was planning something.
The conspirators.
And
Yeah.
they were conspiring to essentially help him without letting him know that they knew what he was about. And he's
Yeah.
he's all preparing to say goodbye to everybody. And they're like, "Oh no, we know. We're coming with you."
Right.
And I love that. I always loved the whole relationship, the hobbits, and like each character has its own dynamic. But I do love those little moments that they added because they took out all that travel log that we got in the beginning. They did
Mhm.
add some fun things. So yeah,
Right.
it's interesting to have Mary and Pippin kind of be portrayed more as like kind of like the goofballs and like the
Yeah.
pranksters. Like there's still the firework in the movie and
Right.
they get in trouble for that. And then like they are stealing cabbages and stuff from the farmer, which again was a fun little side
Yeah.
character in
Well,
the
that
book.
was when in the book, like he was like, "Oh, Farmer Maggot. Oh, he totally respects me. Like we love each other. So let's go on over." And
And he's
then he
like,
like sends the dogs
Frodo's like,
after him.
he
And
tried to stick his dogs on me when I was a lad. I'm petrified of this man. I'm a grown man, but I'm still petrified of this man.
but yeah, like I was so surprised because I knew Farmer Maggot only from the boys stealing from him,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
chasing after him and whatever. And
Yeah.
so I was like, the only reference that we have to him is when Merry and Pippin are running, and I forget which
Yeah.
one. I think it's Pippin. He's like, Farmer Maggot is in fine form today, as they're like running away, you know. And
Yeah.
so in the book, when he's like, oh, Pippin, my dear boy, and he
Hmm.
invites him into the house and he's like, don't worry, I remember you, Frodo. Like, it's
And
all
it,
right. You can take my mushroom. And he gives him the big basket of
yeah,
mushrooms.
it's sort of like a reconciliation. I do love that because it's fun. It does show that Frodo has a past history. This is where he originally came from before he went to go live with Bilbo. And that's
Right,
something they don't really talk about in the movie, that Bilbo essentially adopted him.
right.
And that they barely touch on it in the movie, that Frodo is essentially an orphan. Like reading the book again, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. His parents are
Right.
gone.
Like
And
he's living with
so,
his uncle, so you figure, okay, living with his uncle, I guess his parents died. But I didn't know that he was the adopted from the Brandy Bucks or from the Buckland Hobbits or whatever.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I didn't know any of that. So that was all interesting and getting to see a little bit of that town and
Mm-hmm. And they
like
made his little like house that they made for him there seem so cute.
I
And
know.
then he's like, I almost sad that can't actually stay here.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it was hard to leave Bag End, but they kind of made me a real cute little home here. And now I gotta leave this too. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
there's a lot of little things in the book that I'm glad to know, but like I said, I don't feel like the movie is less for not having them.
Yeah. I feel like they did like supplement by adding other things and
Yeah.
giving, they gave Merry and Pippin more personality in that, hey, they're thieves, they're tricksters. They're like,
Yeah.
they don't know what's going on. And Pippin's always like, what are we doing? He's always
Yeah.
like, he's volunteering for stuff. Oh, where are we going? Oh, we're going to Mordor.
One,
Mordor. Okay. Oh, okay.
I forget what toque means, but it is something like foolish person or
Mm-hmm.
thoughtless person or whatever.
Full
And
of a took.
yeah, in the books, Gandalf is like, "Oh, I love hobbits. Oh my gosh, a toque." Like he's like
Not you
he
two.
does the whole he has the whole moment where he has several moments where he's like, "Well, Pippin, well, Peregrine," he's like, "If I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't need you to," like
Yeah, yeah.
the
And I
the
think it's funny that in the book, the Elrond was like, I don't think Pippin should go.
right.
I've got a bad feeling about this fellow. We should send
Maybe
him home. And
maybe
it's
he
like,
should go protect the Shire.
maybe, but then he's also like, that guy. He's gonna sabotage everything. I got a feeling about this dude. But then, yeah. Anyways, I thought that was interesting.
That was cute.
So, yeah, I like a lot of the things that they changed in the movies that does make it work better. It does improve it. I
Hmm.
think this is one of the better of the three movies as far as like the adaptation from
Hmm.
what's in the books to the movie, from what I remember, anyways. And like overall, it's a fun movie, and
I
I really enjoy it.
love this movie. So I'm trying to remember when it came out. I don't remember
I
what
was
year
in
it was.
college when these came out, or it was like in high school, college.
Right.
So
That's what I was trying to think of too. I
late
think
90s, early 2000s.
right.
Yeah.
And and that was like how you have like the celebrity crush and then
Yeah.
you kind of get more into like real world. And so the actual guys that you're like, oh, maybe I care more about him than some celebrity. But you always
Yeah.
keep that one in your back pocket. And for me, for so long, it was Elijah Wood, which is funny
Yeah.
because Scott likes to pull up pictures of him now and is like, this guy, that's the guy. I'm like, stop it.
Yes. Elijah Wood is adorable. And he was the cutest little kid actor. And
He
he was
was
such a good actor. He was so
forever
good.
young. Oh my gosh. Like
The Good
the
Son.
war.
Oh my gosh.
You
He's,
turned me on to the war, actually. The only thing that I ever knew of him doing that I was like, oh no, was his version of the Artful Dodger in one of the remakes of Oliver. Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
I
it's
think I
awful.
vaguely remember that.
Oh,
But
it's terrible. Like how that was not the end of his career is just a testament to how amazing he actually is
he's
that
like,
he
yeah,
survived
but he's Elijah Wood. It's okay.
that. Right.
Yeah, but it's a great part for him. He
Oh,
totally
perfect.
owns this part. He does a great job. I love all the casting, I think, is really good for this.
Yeah,
But
Billy
like,
Boyd is another one that I absolutely love. And
yeah,
Dominic, I can't think of his last name. Really all the hobbits, but
yeah, they're
the
great.
the four main hobbits. But yeah, Billy Boyd was like
Yeah,
the perfect Pippin.
yeah.
So, yeah, I was really happy with pretty much all of the casting of this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't know Viggo Mortensen before this movie. And then it was like I only knew Viggo Mortensen for a while after this
right.
movie because he's just so like
He
commanding a
came
presence and they did such a good job just sort of
right.
with the broodiness and then he slowly evolves into more of a leader, because what happens with Gandalf, he has to take charge and like before he was always leaning on Gandalf and then suddenly he's the one in charge and he has to make decisions and it's like so it was kind of important for him because he has that
Yeah.
opportunity to start acting like a real leader instead of just this, random straggler dude,
Yeah. And I feel
and
like
yeah.
Mortensen actually did a really good job at being like part of him really wants to be just one of the guys. Like, I want to
Mhm.
be able to sit and play with the hobbits. I want to be able to joke and reminisce with the elves or whatever. But
Mhm.
at the same time, he feels the weight of leadership. Like,
Yeah.
even before he is the leader, like he kind of has that like
But I just want to
I
live a
can't
life.
really
Yeah.
be part of you guys, even though like there's always that little bit of separation,
Hmm.
which can be hard to portray, but we all recognize it when we see it.
Yeah.
The captain of the army and the even like your manager at work, like where I am,
Yeah.
there's only six of us in the office, and there's another like six to eight that work out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And the manager, our executive manager, we all really like her and we all respect her. And she'll come in and she might chat with you for a minute, but it's different. Like just when she's in the office, there's like just a different air, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Aragorn needs to be. That
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't he just wants to be one of the guys, but he never fully is,
Yeah.
you know? And kind of Frodo too. Like you said, Frodo's a more somber character because he
Yeah.
has a burden that the others just don't have.
Yeah.
And so you see him withdraw, whether he means to or not.
Mm-hmm. Because he
You
starts
know,
off pretty like fun-loving and pretty chill guy at the beginning of the movie, anyways.
right.
The book he wasn't quite as chill like ever, but like he
Oh,
definitely got more somber
well,
once he got the ring.
in the book, he's almost a generation older than a lot of them. They were like the children when he was becoming a, like their hobbits are not considered adults until they're 33.
Which
And
kind of makes sense.
well, and I didn't know this, but Tolkien um coined the word tweens, but he meant it for your 20s when you were in between childhood and adulthood at 33. That's what your 20s were. They were called the tweens because you were in between. And now when we say tweens, we mean the
The
10, 11,
literal like
12.
11 to 12,
Yeah,
13 age.
like
Yeah.
you're not a child, but you're not a teen yet. You're the tweens in between. So we
Hmm.
use it the same way for someone who's, a decade younger, but also it was not unnatural for hobbits to live to be over 100. Like not usually 111 like Bilbo,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they frequently made it to 100, 102, you
Yeah.
know. And so, to not be an adult until 33, like, but that's where Frodo was at the time of Bilbo's birthday.
Yeah.
Bilbo and Frodo have the same birthday.
Yeah.
And he turned 33 when Bilbo disappeared.
Hmm.
Um,
And that's like literally like 10 to 17 more years before like the whole
right.
thing actually goes anywhere. Like,
And at that point, those others that were tweens caught up, and now they're all considered adults.
yeah. Okay.
And so
Yeah.
there's
I it's like you think about it like that, that does kind of show why Frodo feels a little more grown up because he
right,
is.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like Peter Jackson and what's her name? Philippa. She
Yeah.
did a ton of work on this. She wrote some of the music. She helped with the script and the everything, the creation of all of it. I can't think of her last name, but I
Yeah.
feel like they and their teams were so
That's where it's
were
gonna go.
so diligent in making every character was correct. I cannot think of a character that I'm like, lackluster compared to the other. Like
No,
I
everybody
can't.
stands out. And again, this is where, I became aware of, was this when I became aware of Orlando Bloom? Yeah, this was
Yeah,
before
this is like the
Pirates.
first thing he did.
Yeah, so like, and you're like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? And
Right.
he plays that part so well. And he just, I don't know, he's really good. I feel like everybody just plays their parts
Yep.
in such a way that they are those characters and you don't question it, you
Yeah.
know? And I remember hearing a story that Viggo Mortensen almost didn't do this part, but his kid like
Mhm.
begged him because he's like, I love these books, you got to do it. I can't
Yep.
imagine somebody else being Aragorn.
Yeah.
I just can't.
So funny enough, the only other person that I could think of was Richard Armitage, and he is Thorin in The Hobbit.
Yeah, okay.
So, which is essentially the Aragorn character. Like I was
Of
like,
that story, yeah. So,
right, of the Hobbit. And so I was
mhm.
like, oh, okay, so he still got in there.
You still got in. It's fine. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think overall it's a really good movie. What's fun about watching it again is that this is early 2000s computer animation, and I feel like it still holds up pretty darn well. There's
Right.
only
That
one spot in the whole movie that I ever felt like that's CGI and you can tell, and it was when Legolas jumps off of the cave troll after like
yes.
shooting him in the head.
Yeah,
But
he's
it's happened so fast that it's you're like, if you were paying attention, you would notice there was something kind of unnatural about the way he fell or
right.
about his movement. But it happens so fast, it doesn't matter.
Right. I remembered in that moment when I saw it on the big screen, because of course I did,
Which
several
yeah,
times.
we all went
And
like, hey.
we all went
I
100,000.
remember when the first preview came out, the first trailer for this came out, and it was just the music and them coming over that ridge, each character at one time, and being like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
gosh, they're making a movie out of it! I can't believe
Yep.
it!" And like
And
everybody freaks out in the theater, like, yeah,
I worked in the movie theater when the first, I want to say the first two movies, at least the first one and possibly the first two, um, came out. It was the same time as Harry Potter and Matrix and
oh man,
uh the first
what a
Twilight.
time!
Like it was a
It's a good time to
renaissance
work in a movie
of,
theater.
right. It was a renaissance of Hollywood, I will say.
Yeah,
A worldwide Hollywood because this was like New Zealand. But anyway, but
yeah,
like this was like for our lifetime, that was probably the best like 6 years of movie making
yeah.
that I have ever witnessed. Like it was everything was
There's some
not
great stuff.
not everything was a winner.
Yeah,
That
but
was
there's
also
some amazing franchises that came out of that
right.
era, and
Yes.
yeah.
Twilight, that came out at the same around the same time. I'm trying to think there's something else that was a big deal for
Yeah, when
kids.
Pirates came out after this,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
went big. And so there's a lot of good stuff that came out
Right.
during this time.
So yeah, so I worked at the movie theater at that time and everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh," like dressing up to come to the theater and like
Yeah, so excited. Yeah.
so excited. But I was too. Like I was totally fangirling right along with them, you know.
Yeah, you
But
grew up with the story.
yeah. Um
I grew up with the cartoons too. I
yeah,
watched the
so
cartoons.
so there's apparently a super trippy one that I did not see. But
The one
there's like
that's rotoscoped, where it's essentially live action, but they animate over top of it. Yeah,
right.
that's the one I
Yeah.
grew up with.
I did not see that one, but there is just a fully animated film that I think was from the 70s that I did grow up with,
Okay.
and of The Hobbit, not of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the story at all at that time when I saw it, and I
Hmm.
saw it several times. And so when The Lord of the Rings came out, I thought that it was The Hobbit.
And you're like,
Like
oh,
I thought it
okay.
was the same thing. And I'm like, there's so much stuff in here that I don't remember.
I'm so confused. And then you're like, wait a second, no, this is the books after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this made me fall in love with the story that like I said, I had tried The Hobbit and people were like, if you can't handle The Hobbit, don't even look at The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And so then when I could watch The Lord of the Rings and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like
Hmm.
I'm super interested. Oh, I thought I was gonna sneeze and I didn't. That was awesome.
That's the worst feeling. You're like, no, now I feel like I've got the thing stuck in there. Yeah.
Right. But but yeah, I was like, I'm interested in the story. I'm interested in the little side stories. I like every single character. I even like the bad guys.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
like if you're gonna have bad guys, they need to be like, oh,
Bad.
and they were, you know. Um, um, there were a few lines that I thought like, well, that was a really cool line, but it felt kind of thrown away. But then there were it's I feel like there were not parts that were like overemphasized that didn't actually matter. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
And of course, after watching it countless times, I then something I was going to say about watching it on the big screen was that moment that you're talking about when Legolas jumps off of the troll
Uh-huh.
felt like a video game.
Yeah.
Like the troll and him jumping off, that felt like video game graphics.
Yeah. In that
And
moment, particularly.
and like
Yeah.
nothing else did. And I do remember being like, well, that was weird. But because it was the only moment, I thought that it was a me thing. Like I didn't catch on that, oh yeah, that was kind of
That
hokey
was, yeah,
until everyone else mentioned it too.
yeah.
Like not everyone else, but
But it's
like
like literally one moment in the entire film, even with like the cave troll, even
right.
now, it's like that's not bad. Like it looks good. And there's some things you look back at and you go, oh, the graphics are so bad. But this held pretty true. They did a really good
Yeah.
job of
This
making
is
everything that's really believable and work.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
it's impressive.
so like I was saying, I've seen this movie, all of the trilogy, so many more times than I can count. I love it. I also went back and we have on the extended um DVDs, they have different commentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I watched it with the um actors' commentaries and also with the director and producers' commentaries because I couldn't help it. So, but yeah, all the different little things that they were saying, all the little like behind the scenesy kind of stuff. I watched a ton of interviews about both before the podcast and then also for this. I'm like, "Oh, hey, let's brush up on,
Yeah.
this and that."
Let's beef up my
And
knowledge.
yeah, and just little things that like the what's his name that plays Gimli, John Reese Davies? Is it John? Reese Davies is his
I
last
think
name.
so.
Um, but anyway, like how he was like deathly allergic to the prosthetics, and so it was
Oh gosh, yeah.
like melting the flesh off. Like it was torturing him, and how when he stood with the I'm trying to remember what it was. Like most of the time, if you see the correct actors of the hobbits with the actors for humans and whomever else,
Hmm.
that you would have to they would do like the forced perspective kind of thing or whatever,
Yeah.
or they'd have the guys sitting on their knees on cushions
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
or whatever. But with Reese Davies playing the dwarf and them playing the hobbits, like
You still had to
his
be.
height difference actually made perfect sense with those two races. And
Yeah.
so they could do scenes just them just acting. They didn't have to do any kind of forced perspective or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
things like that that I find like it's so cute, but like like watching they have it so when you're in Hobbiton and you see Bilbo or Frodo, somebody's like making tea or whatever and they're talking to Gandalf in the beginning,
Yeah.
and he comes and he like brings the tea to the table and you like the camera is kind of moving a little bit. The whole thing is on a rotary stage so that the forced perspective can continue as the camera continues, and they have another stationary camera that's like off to the side like recording all of this and just watching them like how they have to move on this rotating table as the camera is coming through the other way, like things like that that I'm like,
That's
there's
crazy.
a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, when people will be like, "You're an actor. I don't care about your opinions on things. You are here to entertain us." And sometimes there is a little bit of that. Like, don't get too preachy. You aren't really that person. You're portraying them in a movie.
Yeah.
However, when they do things like that, I'm like, that is a skill. Holding the emotion, being able to, like with Aragorn, being able to portray that to get us to understand that like lonely, even in the crowd of people, like
Feeling, yeah.
that takes because you can experience it and you can see it in real life and you can read about it,
But then you have to portray it without
but to
saying.
portray it so that the randos in the audience like us that we see that and we
Yeah.
like can feel for that character, or we are instantly like, oh, okay, Bilbo's here, I'm okay, like like or whatever it is, you know what I mean, like to be able to portray that, to be able to walk around a moving table
And still
while
stay in
you
character.
know yeah, and still deliver those lines and to put the right emphasis because we've all seen the actors who are like, I am saying my line now. Like, like we've all seen that. And so the fact that there was none of that
Yeah.
in here, nothing pulls you out,
Mm-hmm.
is a testament to their craft. Like these are serious actors and truly, truly skilled at what they do.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
it wasn't just because there's a lot of huge names, and it introduced at least a fair few people to an American audience, maybe not a European audience
yeah.
or a UK audience. I don't know. Like Billy Boyd, I had not seen Billy Boyd in anything else. I didn't know who he was. And
No,
then
yeah, he was new to me.
kind of the same as Vigo, that all of a sudden they did the what was the Moby Dick movie?
The what movie?
The Moby Dick movie. It was
Oh,
given a different name, but it was the Moby Dick story.
okay. I don't remember.
But anyway, but it came out like right after this the final Lord of the Rings wrapped, and that had Billy Boyd. He was
Oh,
not the lead character, but he was
in
like
the
one
heart
of
of
the
the sea.
maybe. I can't remember what it's called.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
suddenly he was like in things that we were seeing.
yeah,
He kind of made the movie, like, oh,
yeah.
that's a Billy Boyd movie, Same thing with
Go.
Dominic. What is his last name? Is he Moynihan? No. What is Mary?
Yeah, he plays Mary.
Yeah. So I don't, I'm awful at names, but anyway, but uh,
Information will pop up there.
fixing all of Ray's silly
Or
brain
Ruth's.
fog.
I
But
think the same too.
yeah, so he went on, like he immediately went on to do a kind of sci-fi brain mind bender um TV series
Mm.
that we watched. I was actually very sad that they didn't have a final season of that. Like
Oh,
it seemed to just die. But you know what I mean? Like they suddenly became American household names, and
yeah,
others like Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen and 100,000 that I can't think of right now.
yeah,
Kate Blanchett, that were already huge. But a lot of times when movies do that and they're like, A-lister, A-lister, introducing this super cool guy, A-lister,
yeah,
heartthrob, it boy, and they have all of them in a movie, it's like Mona Lisa Smile. Like Mona Lisa Smile is like every popular female actor of the moment,
yeah.
and it
Shut
kind
up.
of just was nothing. Like it didn't show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
This absolutely did.
yeah. They all brought it. They all made sense for their parts, and it works. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So that is Lord of the Rings. Our thing is gonna end here. So I want to go ahead and introduce what our next book is going to be. I decided to kind of go a whole nother route. This is a book I have not read, but I've seen the movie. It's called Where the Heart Is by Billy Lett. I love the movie,
Me too.
so I'm interested to see how it was in book form and how it transfers. And it's very different from what we just did. This is what we generally do. We go all over the place in our
Yep.
seasons. We do all sorts of genres, all different kind of things. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do next time. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I was planning to like cosplay for this, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna do it, and then I don't.
I
I was
have,
gonna be all elfin and like
yeah, I have an Arwen crown. It's not a true Arwen crown.
I
It's
got
like
ears that I was gonna put on and a cloak, and I was gonna go out, and
yep,
I was like, ah, never mind.
I didn't do it.
We do this so late in the day that I'm always like, by the time I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm too tired. I'm surprised I put makeup on. Anyways, well, this was fun, and thanks again everybody for coming and talking about movies and stuff with us, books and whatnot. But all right, so for Paperback Flicks, I'm Ruth Craddock,
I'm Ray Davidson.
and we will see you guys next time. Bye. Yay!